go, baby.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are live. PSR is excited to present to you Last Call, featuring your boy, the Pimp Slap POD, Mike M.
We are live, and you are here. Let's go, Billy Bridge. How you doing, Dutch? What up, brother? Bouncer, what's up, brother? LJ from the HLJ.
Mike, man, happy to be here, man.
T on the ones and twos, -7.5, the official number we'll use, and the lines move 2 points. And this is not a show to be late for.
And now, let's get to the picks.
We be pumping! Welcome aboard. It's Last Call. Here we go. Pub Sports Radio. Shout out to Mike Kendall with the voiceover on our intro. And of course, our guy backstage on the ones and twos. You know him. You love him. It's T, making it happen, keeping everything tight and right for everybody here tonight to get this cash. And we got a card here. We've got 4 opportunities, 4 sports in play tonight. We've got NHL with a monster card. I want to say there's 12 games in hockey tonight. So you know we're going to get back and lace up the skates for Last Call. We've got the college football, a couple things going on over there, some last-minute big-time movement you're going to want to hear all about. We've got college basketball, and we bring on our hoops expert, Billy Briz. It's Tuesday. You know that means Billy comes in and joins us and helps us get that cash. And then we're going to close it out with a nice, tight little NBA card there. We got a 4 spot. It's the Ja Morant return spot here. So should be a lot of fun to break this card down, and appreciate everybody dropping in here to rock and roll. We got a lot to cover. We don't have a ton of time to do it. We want to make sure we get everybody out of here by 7 or as close to it as we can to get you guys in there to the window to get those bets placed based on what you hear tonight. So really excited to get in there, and shout out to everybody that's rocking with us. You know the deal here, 6 p.m. Eastern, Last Call. And we want you guys to get home, get ready to have a nice little Tuesday evening, help kind of get through the monotony of the week, the whole home here, the week before the big holidays kick off. And you're at the right place to get this information and try to find a way to cook these books here. Again, shout out to everybody dropping in. Kristen Ribes is a new member. Gonzo's a new member as well. We love seeing new members. We're growing this puppy. And it takes one member at a time to continue to build and get that cash. Andrew G, let's go. Alec Dirks is here as well. Jay Peasy, what up, Jay Peasy? Lexicon. Andrew G says more bull game opt-outs. Yes, sirree. Interesting spots there. And the big one, of course, we'll talk about. Unlucky Charms. Marshall Moneyline in the college football spot there, taking a shot at a big dog. I like it. And there's Joseph Thompson. He had a big night last night with his model plays. Hope you followed our guy. He went 2-0 on the model plays, and he's got 2 more looks for us here. His best 2 plays. He likes the Nicholls State, Maryland, over 141.5. The South Dakota CS Bakersfield over 141. And it looks like he says F it. He's got a 3rd spot for us as well with the Citadel Notre Dame spot. That one's going to be starting here very shortly, so get it in if you haven't already done so. Shout out to Smoke and Mirrors up here rocking and rolling. He says he's ready to shoot the Ja Morant special. Andrew G says line down to 7.5, was 11.5. Heard Frank Harris might not play, and that is what I'm hearing as well, Andrew G. Coin says have some Niagara plus 5.5 in his pocket. Tips shortly there. Coin's going to give us that opportunity to try to get that money with a little Niagara Purple Eagles basketball out there. And there's Preston Ekdahl. Had a triple-double parlay with LeBron and Sabonis, added the Dallas Stars puck line. Stars up 3-1, entering the 3rd period, 4-3. Would have paid him 100-1. It's disgusting. Yeah, that was a tough slate there in the NHL last night for us, but it is what it is, right? Preston Ekdahl, we move forward. We got to keep a positive outlook on this card tonight because we want to treat every game, every day as a new day there to continue to stack this cash. So, again, appreciate everybody dropping in. You know what's up with Last Call. We ask you to do 3 things. 1, hit that like button for us there. Give it the thumbs up on YouTube. Help us promote the brand. It takes everybody working together, not just to beat the books, but let them know Pub Sports is here, rocking and rolling, trying to get that money for everybody. 2, grab a pen and paper. You're going to want to write down not just the information I share or the panel and our guy Billy Briz tonight, but all you guys out there in the chat. You guys are cooking right now, and we're cooking right along with you. So we love to see those plays out there. Last night, you guys were sharing bangers left and right. Again, our guy Joseph Thompson with a nice 2-0 day for us. And everybody was out there cashing last night. So the 3rd thing we ask you to do, share those plays in the chat. Let's find out how everyone's planning to get paid tonight. Maybe somebody's got an angle out there that we have not had a chance to look at or talk about or consider. And it takes everybody working at the same time with one common enemy. That is the bookies. And we want to get that money from them bookies. Not our money. We want that bookies money. RVD 420. Hey, Mike. 3 teams that shit the bed this week. Old Dominion, Philadelphia Eagles, and the third one I'm so pissed I can't remember. That happens, man. Sometimes it's that struggle with the third there. You get so fired up and fixated on the first two. That third one falls off the radar. But there's Darius Moore. Darius Moore says Carolina Hurricanes, big bag for our guy trying to get that spot. And Pierce, the weather gave us a winner. I need a chicken dinner. Let's go, my guy. We definitely want to get that chicken. So Andrew G says the Panthers shit the bed. Yeah, I think that was definitely the case last night. That one hurt, and it was a tough one. The Eagles took that L just as a pride opportunity. I don't want to see them Eagles take the L, but man, the sick game there. What a Drew Lock comeback at the very end. Not sure how I feel about it. I mean, I certainly don't like to see the loss, but I gave out the NGB touchdown spot at plus 300. So I don't know. I mean, I'll take the cash, but I would have rather had the win. Caddy Daddy, there's our guy, Caddy Daddy says, let's go, Mike. Philly Eagle Flyer, best name in the business there with our guy, Philly Eagle Flyer. Let's rock. Sancho says Lakers lost to minus 190 faves. Hertz with some crazy comments today. I didn't see the Andrew G. I didn't see the comments from Hertz. So I'll be interested to have to go back and peruse and see what that's all about. And yeah, let's go. Let's pimp slap that. She Pierce the weather. Let's go, baby. Let's talk about this thing here. So you guys know what's up. We're going to start this thing off. Team not committed enough. Wow, Mike, this is wild trouble in Philly. Hey, man, he's a motivator. He's going to try to go out there and show those boys how to get it done. He played through that sick game. Yeah, I mean, would have liked to see the outcome be the other direction, but it is what it is, right? We're gonna take that. Difficult spot for the Eagles. They made the playoffs, so you don't want to lose into the playoffs, but they had it locked up before Monday night even started. So we'll take it. We got our opportunities in front of us. There's a couple of games to get it right. Matt Patricia coming in there to consider coach that defensive team up now. We'll see some moves. We're going to get Slay back in a couple of weeks, and the defense will start to lock it down, I feel. So we don't want to peak too early. We've been stacking up wins in Philadelphia, but we'll see what happens. JW says Eagles haven't had as bad a losses as the Denver Broncos. Philly Eagle Flyers is sticking with 6 goals in the Kings game. Rants, NFL different than CFB. A lot of tough games. There are, especially this time of year. Everyone's playing. That extra week they added definitely makes it a more appealing finish to the calendar than we used to see. We used to see teams start to sit players in weeks 14 and 15 because it didn't matter. But I think the scheduling guys have figured it out with the NFL now, moving it so that you get that week 17 matchups, those week 18 matchups where this stuff matters. Now they've got these divisional games. You look at the schedule on that last week of the year, everything's TBD. They want to have the good games in the right spot so that everybody continues to fix on their eyes on that NFL card and watch it right to the end. So should be fun. We'll see how it goes. Eagles will get the 2 seeds still. Schedule's very easy. It is. It's funny. I was saying this last night. They had the toughest schedule and everyone's talking about how bad they're doing. And now they have the easiest schedule, and everyone's like, wow, they have an easy schedule. Like, you can only play the games that are in front of you, and that's going to be fine. Andrew G says, yeah, no matter what through. Ian Shaber, there's our guy, Ian. Again, our guy gifting like crazy. We appreciate you, Ian. Thanks for coming in. He says, what's up, gang? We're trying to get that cash, baby. Let's go, Ian. Billy Eagle Flyers says 7 goals in the Rangers-Leafs. Exact score. Rangers 4-3 with a draw. Looks like he's saying full game draw in there. So is that an overtime spot, I wonder? There's Don Play. What up, Don Play? Says, I need one best bet for the day. Please help me out. We don't have just one best bet. We got a bunch of them. So maybe you'll hear some information between myself and Billy that gets you pointed in that direction. And there's Andrew G. Says, Leafs draw, always worth a sprinkle. Yeah, it should be a good game to break down. And we do have a play on that game. So I'm excited to go over that with you guys. First and foremost, we have to start with yesterday. It's always important to be transparent. You'll see shows all over the place here. Not a one of them talks about a recap with the exception of the pub sports community and what they've done. It's like they just kind of flow in there. They're throwing plays off the hip and there's zero accountability. You don't know if they're studying the games or they're just throwing out a spot they like because, what the hell, I got to make a play on this game. And that's not how we do it here. We try to use the information to come up with the right strategy to cash big tickets. Let's keep it rolling here. Pierce the Weather says NHL Blue Jackets versus the Sabres over 6.5. Anyone want to talk me off? We'll talk about that game too. I've got to look in that spot. I'm excited to talk about that. Big trend and a big angle on that side of things. So larger NHL card means we have more NHL plays. We're trying to get back into that winning way on the ice. And we'll start here with the recap. Then we're going to jump into NHL. We'll talk about the college football game. Then we're going to get our guy Billy on here to go over his details here. We've got a nice 6-game college basketball slate locked up for you guys. And, of course, the 4 games in the NBA. We'll talk about them all. We've got some props. We've got some sides. We've got some totals. And it's going to be a lot of fun. A lot of show to cover tonight. So I'm excited to get into it with everybody. And I know our guy Mel was out there the other day talking about, even last night on the live stream, about the NHL as well. So looks like some of you guys are getting ready and excited about the NHL, which makes me excited because it's my favorite sport. Not just to cap, but to watch. And love to see you guys help get there and get that cash as well. Dan Kelly. Cappers with not just no accountability, but also no ability. Dan Kelly, there's a man of few words, but when he drops them out there, he is very succinct and articulate. And I couldn't agree more, Dan Kelly. This is what makes pub sports different. It's not just plays. It's our picks. We're giving you guys the spots that we want to cook them books with. Ian Shaver says, Kobe White, points, rebounds, assists, saved the day again yesterday, even overall, but got to get better. Yeah, we do have to stack wins. And that's the thing. We want to hang in there through the tough spots and find a way to cash on the big spots. So let's talk about yesterday here. Let's get this thing cruising here. We got 100 plus. You guys, if you haven't done so yet, hit that thumbs up on YouTube. Go over back to Twitter. Help me promote this thing here. Like the comments that we're sending out there. Pub Sports Radio. Make sure you're following the channel. Every time we go live, you'll see it. And we just want to hear you guys cashing tickets and helping us with that thumbs up button. Doesn't cost you anything, but takes a couple of seconds to go out there and help promote the brand. So let's go. Let's recap yesterday. Not the best day. I'm glad we added the that first half under 22.5. I should have gone back and looked because the number was actually 23.5 right after I got off the show. But the under 22.5 did cash for us. Michael Blaine, I hope you're doing well as well, man. Thanks for coming in here, rocking with us tonight. Mike B out there cashing tickets. But that NFL game, we got that first half under. We did have a bunch of props. And in fact, somebody asked me for a prop in that NFL game, and I talked about the Swift spot. I said I like this over yardage, and he did get that over yardage last night. So, we'll take the good with the bad here and just keep moving forward. Not our finest hour when it came to the NHL. We lost that Minnesota under 6, little 4-3 Penguins win out there. And, the interesting spot was the goalie switches that we had talked about previously going well for us. Did not yesterday. Pittsburgh got the win. Minnesota took the L. Seattle, money line, big money spot. I thought they were going to come back. They tied it up a little bit, but as our guy mentioned in the chat earlier, big Dallas Stars win. And then the Panthers just completely shit the bed. Just a bad loss out there. Duquesne, -3.5. They win the game by 2. They came back. They fought through overtime to get it done, but we took an L. Chicago State gave us a win. Cal Poly, under 144.5, gave us a win. The Philadelphia 76ers did not show up. I don't even know what happened out there. They had 45 points at halftime. Not going to cash in over for us there. And then the Joker spot, 12 plus rebounds and the over 227. Adjusting that Denver total down was the right move because they ended up at 230 or 232. But Joker only having 8, I think it was 8 rebounds, did not 9, maybe 9 rebounds, just fell short of his number. So hey, we're going to move forward. It was a tough day yesterday at 3-6, but we've got a banger tonight. So I think we got to do more correlation between these trends and looking at the line movement. We faded that Philly line movement yesterday. The line was dropping and dropping and dropping and still took the over. I don't know how you could argue any longer about the benefit of this kind of information. I know there's still old school guys that are maybe threatened by some of this technology here and looking at this cash money movement, the flow, the splits, and the tickets, but you got to pay attention to it at the very least, not to make your full cap around it, but use it as a bullet in the gun here to try to get those winners. And shame on me for not following that. We did catch, I think it was 2-1 in college basketball by utilizing that information, but we'll do better. We'll get better. We'll work harder and we'll get that stuff back. So Ricky Levine says, Pimp Slap Mikey, what's cracking? He's plays. He likes the Senators money line, the Kings game under 6. Ricky Levine, thanks for sharing. Ian Shaber says, Swift is a hero on my spreadsheet. I don't get cute with receptions, but value there as well. Yeah, totally agree with that. Real Deal Prime. What up, Real Deal Prime? Real Deal Prime, the grinder coming out here, rocking and representing the city of Buffalo. Despite the fact I don't believe he lives in the city of Buffalo, he's just a loyal follower. We appreciate our guy, Real Deal Prime. Coin says he likes that Minnesota Sixers should be a doozy tomorrow. Yeah, that'll be a fun game to talk about. Real Deal Prime says he likes the Sabres money line. Tuke and Quinn are in. That's going to be a fun spot to watch tonight. And then Dana Delp says, sup, Mike? Hoosiers -11 full game and -6 first half since he's at the game. Hey, let's go, man. I like that. I like that look. Can't get upset about that whatsoever. I think you're going to see some points out there based off that previous game. Those defenses should be a little bit gassed. And hey, nothing more exciting than going to a game and seeing shootouts. So I hope that's the case for you, Dana Delp. Let's get into this card tonight here. We've got a monster to crack down for you guys. And we're going to start this thing with the NHL. So continue to share the plays out there in the chat. I'm going to do my best to make sure that we acknowledge each and every one of you guys taking the time to share your hard work and your best looks. So let's jump in and let's get going. Put your seatbelts on. We're going to break this card down and get into this thing here. You'll see we've got a 5-game NHL package for you guys tonight. The right-hand side, you know the deal by now. The games we're going to cover, you can kind of see where we're at in the coverage as well. If you come in later, you missed anything for the recap. You'll see at the top are the plays that we're either betting or we're leaning to. And this one here is going to start the card off with an official best bet here. I love this Boston regulation spot. You know, we've got right now the line, if you look at the cash here, 96% of the bets and 96% of the tickets on the Bruins. And I think that's for a reason here. You know, one of the best bounce back, if not the best bounce back team in the NHL are the Boston Bruins. And, you know, here's the thing about this game. Last minute trickery yesterday with the roster change. They had Fleury, Marc-Andre Fleury was supposed to get that start against his former team in Pittsburgh. They made the change to go to Gustafsson to try to get that win against Pittsburgh before they knew they were coming to Boston and going to take a beat down. You know, Fleury now is the starter for this Minnesota game. He's 4-5-2 and just having a dismal season. You know, he's 88.6% saving. On the other side of things, damn right, Linus Ullmark 10-4-1 with a 91.5% save percentage. Certainly, you know, Swayman's kind of the number one guy, but I would say Ullmark's a 1B out here. They win, they rally behind him, and, you know, they play strong. Boston, again, is a situation I mentioned with a bounce back. When they're a favorite after a loss, right? They just had a bad loss there that last game. 54-13, the strongest in the NHL in that bounce back spot after a loss. 1.28 goal margin, and that's what made me comfortable with the regulation spot. Not only is Marc-Andre Fleury a sieve, but you got a team that bounces back and their average margins over 1. Furthermore, there are a few, I think there's 7 overtime spots in that trend of 67 games, but the most recent one was just off in overtime. So we have an opportunity where not a ton of these games do go to overtime, but we did have one just come off of overtime. Supports the cause for me to say that you look at the statistics, the law of averages here. If we're not getting a lot of overtimes when we just had one against the Islanders, then this is a great spot for these Boston Bruins in regulation. This is the back end of a back-to-back for Pittsburgh. They're one win in their last 7. They're struggling as well. You know, when you look at this thing for Marc-Andre Fleury, he does have 11 games started this season, but his quality start percentage is 45.5 on the season. That's not going to get it done here. I think you got a fired up team in Boston. They just pulled the head games with Marc-Andre Fleury. Think about the goaltender's position, starting that game yesterday, expecting to go out there and play his former team. Then they say, nope. We're going to put you in tomorrow against Boston. They wanted to get that win desperately yesterday, and they took an L. Not a good spot for the Minnesota Wild tonight. First official play on the card. We're going to rock with this Boston regulation spot, and we're going to keep moving here. Let's keep it rocking. Next game we're going to talk about for you guys, Columbus Blue Jackets and the Buffalo Sabres. Woo, we're going to have ourselves a little doozy tonight. I think probably goals galore in this thing here, and I'm not sure they're going to come from the Buffalo side. Sorry, Real Deal Prime. I know, you know, you're probably not going to like to see this play, but I got to do it. At the end of the day, first and foremost, we've got an interesting spot with Tarasov, Danny Tarasov, coming in to start for the Columbus Blue Jackets. He's an AHL goaltender. He's kind of rehabbing himself. He started the season with a knee injury, and then he goes in his first game there in the NHL. He gets blasted. He lets in 5 goals on 29 shots. Not the start that he wanted. And you're probably sitting there going, well, Mike, Columbus is 3-6-1 in their last 10. What are you doing out here? Well, let's look at this other side. We've got Devin Levi coming back in for the Buffalo Sabres, 6-4-2. Averaging an 89.8% save percentage out there right now. And the big difference here is he got that shot back down to the minors, but because of the Comrie injury, they had to bring him back up. Now, he did go to Rochester. He did have that game. He did play pretty well out there in that game. And since then, he has been flying. But here's the thing about this game. Just break this thing down into its simplest form. When your team is a home favorite after you've played the Arizona Coyotes, you're 0-7 straight up. You're losing those games by 2.29 goals a game. In that 7-game stretch, which teams were included in there? Tampa Bay, St. Louis, Dallas, Nashville, the Kings, the Rangers, and the Devils. Every one of those teams is better than the Buffalo Sabres, with the exception of maybe St. Louis. I'll put an asterisk on St. Louis. I know they just fired their coach and they're trying to figure things out there. But you're going to tell me that all those strong teams lose against a team coming back from the Arizona spot as a home favorite, and the Sabres aren't going to do the same thing? Absolutely, I think so. And with a plus 165, are you kidding me? You're going to give me that plus money opportunity in this spot? Now, the one thing I will say, be cautious. It's goat head jersey night in Buffalo. If you know about goat head jersey night, it's that black and red jersey that they rock out there. I don't know why they call it the goat head. It's a fucking buffalo head. But hey, you want to call it a goat head? That's fine. Here's the thing about that goat head streak. It was crushing last year. It had an 11-0 run. It is now 12-3. They just lost 2 in a row as well. I wouldn't just make the play based on the jersey unless it was in an 11-0 streak. In this case, though, however, I think the motivation's there for the AHL goaltender to bounce back. Buffalo scoring is definitely down. They just came off that road trip there. We talked, their big win was against Vegas. We faded them against the Coyotes. Now they're back home as that home favorite. I think it's a good opportunity for this Danny Tarasov to get his confidence built up there. Obviously in the Cleveland Monsters, he's been doing all right. He's got a 2.57 goals against average with a 91.5% save percentage. The NHL is obviously a much faster paced game, but I think here with a team in Buffalo in that 0-7 spot, it's a great opportunity to fade him at a plus 165. Absolutely. This is that risk reward. I got you, Real Deal Prime. I knew you weren't going to be happy with that one, but listen, I got to take the opportunity where it stands, and at 165 on my money, would you want to back Buffalo as a minus 200 favorite? Or in this case, now they're minus 185. That's not a minus 185 team. It's a small travel spot for Columbus, and I think it's going to be an opportunity. So we'll see, Real Deal Prime. Could very well be coming back tomorrow saying Real Deal Prime was right. But I hope you come back tomorrow, and if Columbus gets it done and say, hey, Pimp Slap POD was right. We'll see what happens. Let's keep it rolling. Let's talk about this next game. That's what makes it fun. I know you guys, and we spend a lot of time together, so we start to kind of know each other's teams. And believe it or not, sometimes I think about that when I'm looking at the cap. Like, I don't want my guy to get mad at me, but I think it's a plus 165 spot. I gotta take a shot with it, Real Deal Prime. So let's keep rolling here. We're going to talk about this third game. I saw some guys in the chat talking about it. 4-3 was the final prediction out there in this Rangers Maple Leafs game, and I'm rocking with that Rangers as well. I don't know about 4-3, but I like this. Again, this is a low price spot. New York Rangers opened this game up as a dog, a plus 106 dog. So there has been movement. On the flip side of things, Toronto opened this game up as a minus 127 favorite. They're now at even money at plus 100. The spot when it comes down to this game, look at what's been going on with these two teams here. The Maple Leafs just hammered the Pittsburgh Penguins 7-0, but they lost prior to that 6-5 to that Columbus Blue Jackets team that we are taking in that other game. There's our guy, Rod Z. He likes 3-2 Rangers. What up, Rod Z? Thanks for stopping in. And here's the revenge spot for these New York Rangers. They just lost at home to the Toronto Maple Leafs on December 12th, 7-3. It was a disrespectful 7-3 beatdown as a plus 146 favorite. So, as a plus 146 dog. So big opportunity. On the other side of things, look at what's happening with the New York Rangers. 2-1 against Boston on the road against Boston. So that was very much a motivational spot for them to go out there and get the job done. They did torch the Anaheim Ducks, but that's the Anaheim Ducks. And then we talked about that 7-3 loss to Toronto. Prior to that, though, they did take down the Kings, one of the hottest teams in the NHL. So we're in a situation here where I just feel like with this previous game and this matchup, we're in a buy low spot out there. We've got Igor Shesterkin starting for the New York Rangers. He's holding down a 90.4% save percentage. On the other side of things, we have Martin Jones. Martin Jones is 3-0 with a 94.9% save percentage right now. We know that what happened with Toronto is Wall got injured, right? Wall gets injured. They got to bring up these goaltenders, and Martin Jones is one of them. But Martin Jones is not a 3-0, 94.9% goalie out there. He's just not. That's just not the way it goes. You look at what happened with Igor Shesterkin. He kind of had a struggling start to the season. But in that Boston game, he makes 21 of 22 saves. He goes 95.5% save. We got the revenge spot out there. The one thing I don't like is in the last 5 weeks, no team is hotter than the Toronto Maple Leafs right now. They're 10-1-4 over the last 5 weeks. Again, just coming off that shutout. But I think the opportunity here, you've got away teams that are off a win and an under, which is the Rangers in that Boston spot. When they're in the Eastern Conference, roll at a 57-20 pace, 57 wins and 20 losses. Not only am I going to fade away on this 3-0 Martin Jones spot, but I got the New York Rangers team in this revenge opportunity coming off that win in the under. What that tells me is they played aggressive. They blocked shots. They came out there. The goaltender played strong, as we just talked about, with that 95.5 save percentage, and they picked up a W. I think they pick up a W again tonight, and I see this line is moving in our direction. So get those minus 110s while you can. That's a 7 o'clock pop-off, and you do not want to miss that opportunity. Let's keep it rolling. Let's talk about this next game on the card for us. We're looking at the Vancouver Smashville, a.k.a. Cashville Predator spot. And, I'm going to roll up with these Predators tonight. We got Casey DeSmith in net for the Vancouver Canucks. 248 goals against average, 91.9% save percentage. He does have a 5-2-2 season. On the other side of things, we have Saros at 14-10. He's got a 91.2% save percentage. So, really, we've got these goalies that are kind of pegged around the same numbers, but you got to keep in mind that DeSmith is not Margaret Thatcher Demko. He's the backup out there. So these backups, they want to be serviceable. You want to put them in spots to shine. But in this case here, I don't think they're doing him the service with Nashville. You got DeSmith is in his second game in the last 3 for Vancouver. And he's 1-0-1 over that stretch. So, very much getting the job done. Vancouver is 5-0-1 in their last 6. But they're coming out here battling against a home team in the Nashville Predators that are 7-1. Their last 8 games, Saros going for his 6th straight win. He's only allowed 9 goals in that stretch of games out there. So his goaltending is incredibly strong right now. Also, revenge spot. Earlier this season, Nashville lost to Vancouver 5-2. And when they lost that game 5-2, they had Lankinen in that. We made the mistake of backing Lankinen a week ago when they pulled that last-minute goalie switcheroo on us. And he got lit up. He got lit up like a Christmas tree. It was unbelievable. Home favorites, when they got a power play goal or more in their previous game and it went under, are 27-12, and their goal margin is 1.28. Revenge spot, starting goaltender versus a backup, home favorite with that power play factor off and under 27-12. That's enough for me to sit there and say, I'm going to take this Nashville Predators home team. The line's moving in this direction as well. It supports the cause. Now, holy cow. I'm glad I looked now. We're at minus 120. It was minus 105 when this was put together. Minus 120 right now in the Nashville Predators. Cashville is going to get us paid tonight, and that'll be our 4th official hockey play on the card. And we're going to bring it home here in the NHL. Our next spot up. Excited to talk about this one. You guys know I gave you guys the prelude to this yesterday. If you followed the show yesterday, you probably knew this game was coming. And coming it is. We're taking advantage of the Ottawa Senators. Why? It's the back the team off the fired goaltender opportunity. We did it with Nashville. They cashed. We did it with Edmonton. They cashed. St. Louis is cashed, and I think St. Louis has got 3 wins in a row right now as well. And I know I'm forgetting a 4th team that fired their coach. But now we're going to take this opportunity with the Ottawa Senators against the Desert Dogs. We've got Forsberg in goal. I'm not excited about Forsberg being the goaltender for Ottawa, or at least that was the projection when I looked at it last. But when you look at the other side of things, they're going back to Connor Ingram, 12-6 Connor Ingram. We know about this guy, though. They broke him. They ran him like a pony in the show, and he ended up coming out, and he had a couple of tough losses. They had to break him out and go to the backup. Not the spot you want to be when you're looking at Arizona with your starting goaltender who's been kind of currently broken right now. Can he get it right against this team? Maybe. I mean, you're not firing your coach because your team's out there getting it done, but they tend to fire these coaches because they think the team has potential, and either the coach has lost the locker room or they're just not achieving their potential. So, look at what's coming on here. Ottawa Senators, they call up their guy is going to be Jacques Martin, going to be the head coach in this spot here. And what's the first move he does? He brings on Daniel Alfredsson as his assistant coach. If you don't know Ottawa Senators, Daniel Alfredsson is a team legend. You got a franchise legend rolling into this locker room, motivating those boys. I know Ottawa's on a 4-game losing streak. That's what led to the dismissal of the coach. But I believe in this case here, we've got a low-scoring team in the Arizona Coyotes. They just won 2-0 against Buffalo. Prior to that, they won 1-0 against San Jose Sharks. 2 subpar teams at best, and double shutouts. So here you go. You got a team that's definitely prime and ripe to get goals scored on them. They lost 4-2 to Pittsburgh. They lost 5-2 to Buffalo the game before that, and 5-3 to Boston before that. They're just not scoring a ton of goals at this point here. Pretty simple formula. Yeah, it's not the strongest goaltender in Forsberg going in the net, but I think this coaching change is going to motivate these boys here. Away favorites when the line is less than -150, and they're off a dog loss are 342 and 230 over the last 2.5 seasons in the NHL. Plenty of sample size in that data to show Ottawa Senators are the right team here. We're taking the motivation angle out there, and we're going to try to get it done. Nasty Nate says Mike has to burn his Providence hoodie for the neglect. I don't know. I was thinking about that Marquette spot tonight too, giving them with Providence, Nasty Nate, but I couldn't get there. So we'll keep the Providence hoodie in rotation, in circulation. But we're rocking the vest tonight here. Still gonna rock this vest and get it done. So he's got, yeah, North Denver. I'm rocking the Alfredson turtleneck. Let's go, man. It's a good spot for our boy tonight. So listen, I'm gonna talk to you guys just briefly. I'll tell you, just full disclosure. Earlier today, I took the Marshall team at +10.5 as we looked at college football. I also took the under, and it was 51.5. There's significant movement in this game, and I believe the movement is truly a reflection. Initially they were saying that Frank Harris, the quarterback, was going to come back. The guy's like a 10-year senior out there for UTSA, and his goal was he wanted to be the guy to start this game. He wanted to be the guy that got the team a bowl victory out there. Now he's doubtful. Now he's questionable whether he's going to play or not. Yeah, I see that our guy T out there dropping it in the chat as well. Frank Harris is doubtful. Absolutely. And not necessarily the spot I want to be involved with here. So it's actually a lean for me. It's not an official play for me on the UTSA side. I'm flipping gears here. I mean, the line movement's now 7.5. 69% of the bets and 80% of the cash on the UTSA Roadrunners. On the other side of things with the total, we open at 56.5. We're all the way down to 46.5. So we lost 10 points in this game. Now, I said this yesterday with the Eagles. Do I think when these quarterbacks come in that they're more than a 2-point favorite? No. And that's what we saw with the lines. They only adjusted the lines by 1.5 points in those spots. So in this case, has this line pivoted so far that there's, the value is gone in this case here? Does that quarterback indicate that much opportunity? I think in the UTSA case, they do. UTSA doesn't score a ton out there. I mean, at least when it comes to, interconference games, they're just not a team that goes out there and rifles it off. Marshall, the Green Wave, have a ton of guys in the transfer portal as well. So these are some dangerous spots. You look at what's going on with UTSA. They just lost at Tulane 29-16. That was a tough spot for them. Prior to that, they did beat up USF 49-21, so they were scoring. But this was led by Frank Harris. Questionable now with the situation that's going out there. I know that they were putting up points as they were pushing for the bowl games. I don't understand how you tell everybody you want to come out there, you're committed to the organization, to the college, you want to help them get their first bowl win. Their motivation is to get that first bowl win. On the other side of things with Marshall, Ark State game 35-21. They took a victory. They lost to South Alabama 28-0. They beat Georgia Southern 38-33. And then they lost to Appalachian State 31-9 prior to that, 34-6 before that as well. I don't know what to make of this game. I was thinking yesterday with that Western Kentucky spot with the changes. I was on the Western Kentucky side, but I liked the under in that game. I still like the under, and I just listen. Ultimately it's a no play for me. I'll give you guys the lean. We'll talk about this. I'm going to go back to the UTSA side now because I think we've moved now almost 4.5 points from even 2-3 hours ago. It feels very, very suspiciously like that Eagles game yesterday. That line moved 3 points from the time the show started to the time the ball kicked off. And the Eagles still took the loss. So there's a ton of steam coming in saying Marshall now has the value. I've got Marshall at 10.5, full disclosure, but I lean now to the 7.5 with UTSA to find a way to get it done. I just think this is a weird spot. I wanted to cover it because I do have a spot that I look to in this game, but I wanted to talk about that quarterback situation for you guys to be aware of what you're getting into before you get into it. So, if anybody else has plays on this in the chat, then let's see it. I see Coin says 7.5, 46.5 now. Yeah, that's just a weird game for me. It's a 9 p.m. start. So, I'll be tracking my action, but 51.5. Now we've dropped so many points. I can't in good conscience tell you guys to take a 46.5 or a 47. There's 47s out there, but it does continue to drop. I'm going to root for my action. I'm going to have no official play. I now lean the other side. I hate even to do that, but again, 10.5 to 7.5. I don't think the quarterback's worth that many points in a team that, is suspect in the first place. So we'll move on from that game. I wanted to kind of throw that out there, but we do have a ton of hoops to cover, and we've got nobody better on our Tuesday shows. He's our guy. He's our guru. He's our expert. Every time I go to the guy, he gets up out of his fucking chair, and I see it again. But we're going to bring him on when he sits back down and gives me the thumbs up that he's ready, and we'll get into it. So we do have, again, it's a 6-pack to cover for you guys in college basketball. I believe I've got 3 spots or 2 spots, and then he's got 3 spots for us as well. So without further ado, let's bring on our guy, Billy Briz. This guy's all over Pub Sports Radio. He's an MMA extraordinaire. He's back in the dirty jersey, and he's giving us his college basketball commitment, his NBA commitment as well. I'm excited to break the card down, Billy. It's a smaller slate in the NBA, but I always think that's where the money's at, dude. You get more opportunity to take a sharp mind and dig into those cards. I know we're going to get that cash. What's going on with you? How you doing?
Not much, man. A little bit of a sour day. I had the Eagles -3, lost that on the last drive, and Oakland plus 16.5, and lost that by the hook with one of the best shooters in the country missing the 3-pointer to not cover the cash for us. So it was a rough Monday, Mike. I'll tell you that.
You know what though, man? I mean, that happens, right? We do this a ton. Every day you're giving out picks. There's no way you're going to win them all. And, it's difficult, especially coming into a single day on a Tuesday, to come out here and get it done for us as well. So it happens. We'll take it with a grain of salt. That's the thing. It's a battle and a war, right? It's the proverbial battle and the war.
You know what they say, though.
We might have lost that battle yesterday with them Eagles, but we'll come back and win that war. They're a playoff team as well, so we're still okay.
You lose a couple of bets, the next day is supposed to be the winners, right? So, I mean, the chat's probably happy, right? They get the winning side of this streak.
This is the best time. I say that all the time. I was saying that with somebody the other day. They were like, I'm having a tough week here, and you don't want to follow me. I was like, bullshit. Now's the best time to follow you. Are you kidding me? You're in a spot where, you're clipping over 60% rate, and you're rolling at 20, 30, hey, let's go. Let's dig it in and let's roll our sleeves up. So we got a lot of action tonight. We got 140 plus checking us out now to get in. They were waiting for our guy here to come in and rock with us. Guys, if you haven't done so yet, hit the like button for us. Show the support. YouTube, give us the thumbs up. Make sure you let them know we're out here doing this thing. If you appreciate the content, if you're enjoying what you're hearing, if you're going to fade what we're saying, just hit that like for us. Hit that thumbs up, and let's keep it rolling here. So, Billy, I got 2 games that I'm going to jump into, and then we'll get into the spots that you shared with us as well, because I'm very eager to hear what you have. And I know we've got some 7 o'clock start. So I'm going to move quick. If you have any thoughts on the game, then by all means, share it with us. But this first game I opened my college basketball card up with here. I looked at Memphis. The line opened at 3. Now we've got 3.5s and 4s. This is the proverbial reverse line movement. 40% of the bets and 61% of the cash on Virginia. The line is now moving towards Memphis, or I should say, Memphis is becoming a stronger play in this case here. It went from 3 to 3.5s and now 4s. Over 131 was the total that we opened at. 74% of the bets, but only 43% of the cash on the over, and it's moved up 1.5 points. When we look at the money line, we like to do this with these tight spots. The money line opens up 54% of the bets and 73% of the cash on Memphis, and it moved from -150 to -170. I know I just took that L with Memphis the other day. They weren't able to come through and get the job done. They were 3.5-point favorites in a very similar spot against the Clemson team, and they took that 79-77 win. They were struggling in the first half, and they just fought hard. They boarded up, and they came back to get the job done. But I think in this case here, we know Virginia is known as a defensive team. I like this Memphis spot predominantly because I think that the defense, the pace that Memphis likes to run, and we saw this with Clemson in that second half, the reason they were able to pull ahead is because they were just taking a ton of shots out there. There's a trend that I've been following. It's kind of labeled the Vegas no spot. When you have a lower ranked team in the favorite position and they've got less than 6 days of rest, they're 175 to 111, and it's currently on a 10-3 run. So right now we've got a team that plays a top 20 pace. It's a home team in Memphis. We've got a defensive team with Virginia that I think is going to struggle with the transition specifically because of the pace. So this is that classic styles make fights. I think we have a team that likes to run fast. -3.5 for me is the spot that I dropped in there. Thoughts?
I would rather pay for the money line just off the fact that Memphis has failed to cover a spread in all 3 of their home games. Although 2 of those games were when they were laying 21 or more points, but it's just weird because in their ATS losses, they led by 5 or more points in the final minute before losing the ATS spread. So I'd probably just pay the chalk and take the money line.
The money line numbers right now for anybody that's interested at home, you're going to want to shop. Minus 175s up to minus 190s. I thought about that too. I thought about dropping that into a parlay as well. I know it's a Virginia team at 9-1, but I've had a lot of success. We cashed on that UConn spot a couple weeks ago. I forgot, was it Kansas or Kentucky UConn was playing? It was a similar spot where UConn, the higher ranked team, was getting points on the road and they came back. I think it was Kentucky. And I think it was Kentucky.
This is a close ball game, man. I don't know, man. Like going to I feel like Memphis is the side, but man, a lot of stuff going down there in Memphis tonight. You know, John Morant coming back. They're on TNT. I don't know. I want to stay away from the Memphis boys.
Fair enough. Let's talk the second game I have for you guys here. I looked at this Cal State Northridge game. Cal State and UCLA. Couple of Pac-12 trends that I'm working with in this game here. And I've got the line moving in my direction. So kind of checks both those boxes for us. Just kind of let me find it here. Again, we get to this so many college game spot that I want to, I struggle to find it. All right, here we go. UCLA, Cal, Northridge. The line opens at 19.5. 92% of the bets. Looks like there's going to be some ticket trickery here because we only have 1,000 tickets on this game, but we do have a full count when it comes to cash and money on the total. But as far as the side, 92% of the bets on the Cal Northridge side. I can't tell you what the cash flow looks like here because it's not there. But we do have the line has moved 2 points. The totals where I'm trying to isolate here, 136.5 is where it opened. Put this information together for T. We're at 139s now, 43% of the bets and 94% of the cash on the over for me. And that's the spot that I took here. I think this is a point spot. 139 is the best number I see out there. Excuse me. I told you I was tracking some of these trends as far as these totals are concerned. 3 teams, Southland, Mountain West, and the Pac-12. When the totals lined less than or equal to 141 and they're a home favorite, it's gone over 33 times, 16 times to the under. Not a ton there, right? I mean, 33 and 16, still a win margin of over 50%. But home favorites in college basketball in general, 86 and 40 with the average score of 144 on the over. So we're seeing the total scores are 149. We're still 5 points under where the average is for those 86 and 40 spots. 149 is the total number we're seeing, which is still 10 points less than where we're at with this total. So I'll take the one. I don't care if it's moved now. I'll take the 139. 139 on Caesars is minus 110. So that'll be the official number that I'll give out for you guys there. But Billy, I place aside. We want to hear what you're going to do with and get down and dirty. Do you have any thoughts on that Cal Northridge game before we turn it over and talk about how we're getting paid?
Yeah, it's definitely one of those spots where you can have like a unit and like split a half unit on the dog and the over, because if the dog covers, if the game probably goes over. UCLA has gone 1-5 towards the over under this year, so they're due for an over. And right. Cal State Northridge 5-0 ATS on the road this year, so they've been covering these spreads on the road. So I wouldn't be surprised to get it done in a lackadaisical holiday spot.
Yeah, it just feels like that's a lot of points to be dropping on a Cal State Northridge team. That's really kind of a not a crosstown spot, but might as well be a crosstown spot. I mean, it's a lot closer than it could be. So I was thinking that too, but I think, when we're looking at the dog, I like to see the overs. Kelly V leaning the under in the UCLA game. Oh no, Kelly V, we don't want to hear that.
But, 1-5 towards the under at home this year. I mean, they're due for an over.
Yeah, and I think that total gets kind of scrubbed down a little bit on this point. Like we're buying low.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Well, let's transition here. We've got 3 games for you to cover when it comes to college hoops tonight. So let's without further ado, let's not waste any more time here. You guys will see we got Billy's stuff all teed up. That's what our guy T does. One of the best.
Hey, shouts to my man T.
Getting it done, keeping it right for everybody to work with here. And we're looking here 7 p.m. Eastern. We've got Western Carolina Vanderbilt. We got the line open as a pick'em. 76% of the bets, but only 43% of the cash on Western Carolina. And this line has swayed a ton to get you to that 4.5 spot. The total opened at 144.5, 76% of the bets and 62% of the cash on the under, Billy. It's moved down 5 points to 139.5. And again, a lot of movement in this game for, an 8-2 West Carolina team. Vanderbilt has been no spring chicken this year. I still see 4s out there, so take it away. Give us your thoughts.
Yeah, Western Carolina, I like them +4.5, -115 tonight. This is just one of those spots where the bookies are going to catch you slipping, where people are trying to get those long parlay tickets. They see Vanderbilt, they have no idea or never heard of fucking Western Carolina a day in their life, and they end up getting caught slipping back in the favorite chalk here because the 4.5, 3.5 line, it looks good, real good in the parlays, but Western Carolina, man, that's a team that you need to have circle going into 2024 for conference play. They have one of the best backcourt duos in the country in Woolbright, Jackson, and Campbell. They can score, they can defend, they can play up and down. I'm telling you, man, this is a team that you got to have circle. Vandy has lost 5 out of their last 6 games. They're not scoring well. They're not defending. They shouldn't be laying any points. I don't care if it's home, road, or neutral. Wrong team favorite.
I like it. I love the thought there with the parlay tickets too. Like, you're absolutely right. At surface value, I'm going to put my 10-legger together and we'll see if I can't win that home run. And I'll just take Vanderbilt. They got to be better. Who's this West Carolina? I don't know who this team is. I love that look, dude. That's a great spot. Shout out to Jacqueline. Happy holidays. Jacqueline's out there rocking with us. Kelly V says UCLA, good defense, offense, not good. Al Cervic says UCLA off the upset, just got smoked. And then Kelly V likes Indiana State -9.5, -9 for the first half, rather, and leans the dog Merrimack at +19. Coin strongly the Southern Illinois, under 136.5, 83% of the cash in the over, and it's not moving. I love that look. Justin McAlvey likes the Virginia +4 spot. So we're going to have some head-to-head spots tonight, boys and girls, but let's talk about this next one. I see Kelly V will be our lead into this thing here. We've got the Tennessee State spot versus Indiana State, a battle of the states. And it starts here at 16, 81% of the bets and 88% of the cash on Indiana State. We've seen a little ping pong, depending if you're going to go line shop. There are 16.5s out there now, Billy. So I see you got the 17.5s. We can call it 16.5s. 158.5 where the total opened up. 67% of the bets, 46% of the cash on the under. And it's dropping a little bit. They're showing a little concern out there here. We've got Tennessee State at 7-5. The Indiana State Sycamores at 10-1. Billy, take it away.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite spots on the card. Yeah, it looks like a lot of points, but deservedly so. I mean, Tennessee State, 3 out of their 7 wins are versus non-D1 divisional conference teams. Their D1 wins are versus teams that rank 254th, 306th, and 245th in the country. Their 2 high-quality games that they played were against Oregon and Liberty. They were both 20 or more point losses. Even with such a poor schedule, they're allowing 52.7 opponent field goal percentage. And this is a 4th game in 10-day span for them. So it's a spot fade scenario, and they look like complete dog shit. And then when you look at Indiana State, they're one of the highest scoring teams in the country. They scored 70-plus points in every game that they played so far this year, 10-1 record at home. They should smack this team. Definitely a team to keep your eye on at home heading into 2024 conference play.
I like it. Short, sweet, to the point. Yeah, Tennessee State's terrible. They don't cover shit. They couldn't cover their head with a hat if it was snowing outside. So I like. Look, I think I'm going to tell you on that. There, little Midwest action for us here, and then let's talk about this third game. Then we're going to bust over to the college hoops, to the NBA, because I know we got a 4-banger over there as well. So let's talk about this next one here. We've got North Dakota State. We've got Southern Illinois. The Salukis are out there looking to make some noise tonight. And it looks like Billy wants to get some of that noise. So let's talk about it. Let me pull it up, and then we will turn it over to our guy. North Dakota State opens at 8.5, 43% of the bets, 42% of the cash. Marginal movement. The total, no movement. 89% of the bets, 83% of the cash on the over. North Dakota State, 7-5. The Bisons taking on Southern Illinois Saluki at 6-4. Billy Briz. Of course, we know that North Dakota, trying to come out there and figure things out there. They just took a big L to Illinois State. And the other side of things, Southern Illinois, had a tough battle, almost came out as an outright on a dog spot, 5.5 points to Wichita. Take it away, Billy. Tell us what's going on in this game.
Yeah, this should be called like the mid-major college Tuesday slate, because this is definitely, get your pen and paper out, as Mike always says, circle Southern Illinois. They have literally the best mid-major player in the country in Xavier Johnson. He has the highest scoring average in the country right now in 25 points per game. SIU, like you noted, they have some tough losses of recent. 1-point loss at Wichita State, one of the best home courts in the whole entire country, and a 2-point loss against Austin Peay. So this is a get-right spot tonight. NDSU isn't a team that I'm not afraid of fading. They literally, the only way they win games is by shooting the three-pointer, and they really don't even shoot free throws well. And then if you look at their schedule, their next game is at home versus South Dakota State in an in-state rival game. That's the school that they probably would get up more for than Southern Illinois, who's going to be hungry coming into this game. And man, if you're giving Xavier Johnson a matchup where he can take advantage of, I mean, dude averages out of all those motherfuckers that you want to name in the country, this dude on Southern Illinois is the highest leading scorer in the country for a reason. This is a team that you want to have your money back in.
There's our guy, Billy, giving us that college hoops look. Guy's been kicking ass and taking names. Make sure you follow Billy, too, if you haven't already. He gets out there on Instagram as well, and he gives you guys those early looks there. This guy's grinding all day and all night. Money never sleeps, and neither does Billy Briz, man. He's Friday nights overnights, he'll give you those looks. Man, you'll see those points move in college basketball. I don't know if he's got the crystal ball or the sports almanac, but he's continuing to beat these line moves by not just a half a point, like 3-4 points in a lot of cases. And that's the biggest difference between winning and losing. So if you haven't done so on the college basketball side, make sure you get him. I know he's doing and kicking ass in the NBA. We're going to turn gears and talk about that as well. We've got the 7:30 is going to be the first start for us, but I just wanted to make that comment because I think it was that Eastern Illinois game. And it was like, I don't know what I was still doing up. Maybe I was still drinking, but it was like 2:30 in the morning and he throws out there, take this line now, it's going to move. And I think it moved like 4 or 5 points by the time the game started, Billy, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, dude, I woke up the next morning, that line was gone. It was like in the 2:45.
I think you even commented, you were like, if you haven't taken it now, it's too late. And it was, it moved like that many points. So that's awesome, guys. If that's what it's all about here. This guy lives, breathes, and sleeps college basketball and the NBA. So that's why we bring him on. It's not easy to come in on a single day and run at the rapid pace, but he's got the names. He knows how to get you paid. He's going to talk hoops. Let's talk about this NBA now. Let's jump in because we got the Grizzlies and the Pelicans as the first game. And I'll tell you what, just full disclosure, I kind of found this game or this NBA slate a little more difficult. Now, granted, it's 4 spots and it's not my strength. So I was kind of in that position where I'm very eager to hear what your thoughts are here. You know, we'll start with this game here, the Grizzlies and the Pelicanos. We know it's the Ja Morant game here, right? This is big opportunity for number 12 to get back out there and lace the high tops up. The line opens at -6. We're now at -8 for the Pelicanos. 79% of the bets and 81% of the cash on the Pelicanos. The total opens at 232.5, now down to 230, even 229.5. 52% of the bets and 69% of the cash on the under, Billy. Give us any thoughts you have on this game.
From a side scenario, so this line opened up at -6. At -6, I kind of understand that is a disrespectful line for the Pelicans, but we're not talking about -6. We're talking about 8.5. And man, like, you're telling me I'm not fading the Grizzlies right now, man. I'm not trying to fade the Grizzlies. Ja Morant's first game back. They asked the coach if there's going to be a minutes limit tonight, and he said, what do you fucking think? How many games have we won this year? They literally don't have a point guard. Ja Morant is going to it's from a real-life basketball scenario perspective, there's different types of basketball players. And when a certain player is a touch shooter or something like that, it takes them a couple of games to get going or something like that. But Ja Morant's game is really predicated off of pick-and-roll basketball and him driving to the bucket. So I don't think it's going to take that much time for him to really get acclimated back into the system. I haven't projected around like 33, 35 minutes tonight, and that's kind of generous in a spot where the Grizzlies got to start winning games, 6 of 15. Ja Morant's definitely feeling the pressure. This game's on national television. Zion Williamson's questionable for this one, and the line's going up. Doesn't make sense to me. Give me the Grizzlies.
Yeah, that's a weird spot. I didn't have much on this game. Just a couple of thoughts. First of all, the Pelicans, they're 11-0 to the under. So remember I said that under is trending down now. We're seeing the line movement and the cash coming in on it. So the Pelicans 11-0 to the under going back to December 31st of last year when they shot at least 52%, 52.7% from the field the last game. So when they're shooting 52% or better, we're seeing an under. It's a primetime spot, as Billy said. That certainly kind of lends to, they're not just going to want to go out there and gas. They're going to have to try to board up a little bit. And I think on the board up side of things, we got Valanciunas as the guy to look at from a rebound perspective. Over 11.5 rebounds. And I wrote this down, kind of some last minute information that I wrote down here. He's done nothing since the in-season tournament, but go over this number. 15, 13, 8, and 14 Spurs, Hornets, Wizards, and I didn't write down the other team. I want to say it was Orlando. Nonetheless, he's going to box up there. They had Jackson as the guy to kind of defend against him, and they've moved into Tillman for the opportunity. So, I think that's just a size mismatch for a guy that's done nothing but go over that number. Anybody's looking for the prop spot on that, I would consider that the play, but I don't have anything official on this spot, and I don't think Billy does either. He just likes the minutes.
No, I do have an official play. We were just talking about the side scenario. It says Zion's playing. I don't have a bet on the side, so it wasn't anything that I really looked into deeply. But when it comes to a prop scenario, I think this is a good prop spot here for the Pelicans. CJ McCollum, shouts to Dabby Cab, always playing this one. Over 2.5 threes today, minus 148 at FanDuel. He gets a good matchup versus the Grizzlies, who've allowed the 4th most three-pointers made per game, and the 2nd most three-pointers made to reach the point guard position. And CJ's gone over his three-point prop in 9 out of his last 14 games and 4 games straight. So he has the hot hand for the Pelicans. National television game. I think CJ's going to shoot the ball well in this one.
Yeah, shout out to our guy Tarek B and Markel, both saying it. I can confirm that as well. Fantasy Lab shows it. Zion will play tonight. So what an interesting game this will be here. We might finally see a Memphis team that's worth watching, and we know the Pelicans play hard at home. So that should be a lot of fun to check it out. Our guy Billy Briz on the CJ McCollum over 2.5 3-pointers out there for us to get the card started for the NBA. Any other thoughts on this game?
No, I would good game to watch, not a good game to bet, in my opinion.
That's kind of how I felt about the early part of this card. That's why the way my card kind of worked out. There was a lot of hockey and some college basketball stuff I liked early, and then as it kind of got to later, I was kind of down. I was getting more excited about the NBA, and I know we're on a couple of looks as well. Let's talk about this next game. We've got the Spurs and the Bucks. The line opens at 13.5 for the Spurs. 29% of the bets, but 54% of the cash on the Spurs. And yet we've seen it move now 3.5 points in the Bucks direction. So the total was 69% of the bets and 76% of the cash have moved to the over, and the line's moving to the over. And you'll see at the top, my only play on this game was a Brooks Lopez under 5.5 rebound opportunity, Brook Lopez. But I thought in this case here, just a weird spot. He's not going to go out there and D. It doesn't look like Victor is going to play. Wembanyama's not going to play in this game, if I'm not mistaken. And I kind of feel like this is one of those trap spots when it comes to, like, if you're looking to take his over rebounds because you think it's a lower number, doesn't really get there very often anyways. And this is a potential for a blowout. So, Billy, go ahead. Give us some thoughts.
My only thought in this game is, I don't know how much you can really do with it, but this is as let me knock on wood, but this is as free square as a free square can get, man. No Victor Wembanyama in there playing in Milwaukee. Milwaukee's been smashing at home, one of the most profitable at-home teams in the NBA, despite the narrative of them not really looking good this year. So I think the Spurs get blown the fuck out.
Yeah, it just seems 17 points is a lot of points, but who's going to play for the Spurs? I don't understand.
I would have to say it in those exact terms. Like, I think they get blown the fuck out. Like, I don't want to do anything like that, but dude, they weren't defending with Victor Wembanyama out there, and now you put Zach Collins back in the starting lineup. They might get blown out so bad that if you could play a Sandro Mikhailovich prop, the backup center for the Spurs, he's getting a revenge game against the Bucks. And I'm playing him in this daily fantasy lineup tonight, and he's bare minimum price. So if you're out there in the world and you're trying to get some action on this game, better daily fantasy game than real life, I want to put money on this game.
I like that. Like a greasy little spot there with the backup. And this is one of those ones that kind of, especially you talk about DFS, you see a lot of guys will go to these big games and they'll think, they're going to get a ton of points. It's the opposite that happens, though. These guys go up so much that now they get put on the bench and they're not playing the full minute counts. That you're not getting the most out of those guys. I love you. I know we don't talk a lot of DFS here, but I love the buy down strategy. Trying to take a shot, that risk reward. I loved it better when like FanDuel would give you that one spot where you had 12 guys and they would knock your lowest scoring guy out there.
Yeah, that was
They stopped that quick, but I was a fan of that kind of stuff because I was like, you can go out there and just take take a bargain, but if the guy does anything, you're good, and if he does nothing, they're going to take it out anyways. But let's keep it rolling. Let's go on to this next game we've got for you guys here. We will talk about, this is the big one here. I think this is going to be a lot of fun. We've got the Boston Celtics taking on the Golden State Warriors. It's a road game out there. 5.5 is where the number opened up. 67% of the bets, 87% of the cash on the Celtics. And we've seen the line is dropping now. We've got 4.5. 6 was the number I gave out there to T earlier today. And now we're down to 4.5. 231.5 is the total. 74% of the bets, but only 17% of the cash on the total itself, on the over. And it's moved up 3 points. So interesting move that we're seeing money going to this Golden State Warriors. We're seeing money going to the total on the over. The public on the over. All the cash coming in on this under, Billy. Take it away.
Yeah, from a side total perspective, I would kind of want to lean more towards the player prop angle. I mean, no Kristaps Porzingis out there. Jason Tatum, I mean, he's been rebounding. If you look at his rebounding numbers, he's been playing really good. I think this is a good buy low Jason Tatum spot off the aspect of the last time we were on the show. We talked about how the Celtics' next 4 games were like 4 consecutive games that they're playing back-to-back teams. So I think Tatum could get geared up. West Coast trip concluded with, I think they play the Lakers on Christmas Day. So they're going to be out in the West Coast for probably this whole entire Christmas break. But as I digress a little bit, I like Curry in this spot, man. Over 29.5 points, minus 110. That opened up earlier today at 27.5. It's gone up for a reason. And then if you're on BetMGM only, this is only a BetMGM prop under the Rick Barry section. Steph Curry to make a 30-plus foot three-pointer at plus 150. Great plus money spot. I think this is a Steph smash spot. His 3-point streak ended in the Warriors' last game. He had 268 games straight with at least a 3-pointer made. Boston struggles with guarding the point guard position. That hasn't really changed too much this year. They allow the 7th most points per game towards the point guard position and the 3rd most 3-pointers towards the point guard position. And they allow the most pull-up 3-pointers per made in the NBA and the 2nd most it's above the perimeter 3-pointers. So deep 3-pointers. They're 2nd most in the NBA. Steph Curry attempts the 5th most pull-up 3-pointers made in the NBA and most attempts above the break. So deep threes and stuff like that. Curry's gone over his point prop 7 out of his last 10 home games, and he's went over his prop line against the Celtics 8 out of his last 10 games. So love the spot here for Steph Curry.
That's our guy. That's Billy Briz doing what Billy Briz does right there. He's digging deep into the card, talking about pull-up shots. And, I see some guys in the chat. Sammy Calmer says Curry 40-plus footer. Sammy Calmer, good to see you out there, says plus 600 on that 40-plus footer. And then Caddy Day's got a question for you. He says, how do you feel about his threes line at 3.5 plus money?
I'm everything Curry over tonight. This is a big spot for the Warriors. They're losing games consecutively. It's a good spot against the Celtics. The Celtics don't have Porzingis in there, so it's going to be I think that might fuck with the total a little bit because now it's going to be a little bit more up and down type of game. Yeah, granted, Al Horford's going to be out there, but he's not going to be out there for 40-plus minutes. But those times that he comes off the court, they're probably going to go small, man, with Tatum at the 5, throw Hauser in there and the guys and start shooting that bitch up. I don't think they want to be playing a whole bunch of Lamar Stevenson and Luke Cornett coming off the bench as backup center. So I think this game's going to go small. We know how the Warriors like to play. They don't have Draymond. Looney can't crack 20 minutes regardless of him being in the starting lineup or not. So they're going to go small with Saric out there. So, yeah, I think the Warriors are going to shoot that shit up tonight, man.
Yeah, and the Chris Paul questionable factor, I talked earlier in the season about, I don't know if he's playing or not yet. I didn't see the latest update, but I know that they were concerned whether he would play or not. Obviously, we know Draymond Green is trying out for the MMA, so Billy will probably be interviewing him for future Saturday UFC events. But then you look at Wiggins going to the bench as well, and it seems like, there's no way you can't take Boston in this game here, but yet here we are with the line moving. And And here's a couple things to consider as well. So I'll drop some trends on you guys here. I saw our guy in the chat saying the Warriors 15-1 against the spread, covering the spread by 10 points as a home dog their last 16 games. They're 11-2 against the spread versus the Celtics when the line is 5 points or longer. And that's what we have here in this case. When the Warriors are 8-1 against the spread at home when they're hosting an Eastern Conference team off a home game with less than 2 days rest. And then the Celtics 0-8 against the spread and straight up, losing the spread by 10.5 points on the road versus the West off a 3+ home game stand in this line functionality situation. Lastly, the Golden State Warriors, most profitable home dog since 2020. They're on a 14-0 spread spot as well. When they're a home dog after a game, they committed less than 19 turnovers. That just to me says that they recognize that they're low on the depth in the talent pool. They're in a spot where they've got to can protect the ball. They've got to capitalize on their opportunities. I think we do see some opportunities for the rebounds out there. They're not going to let a lot of the second chances come up for Boston. And you know what? 4.5. I don't care. I still like 4.5. In fact, I'm going to go. I'm looking at the sprinkle. I'm thinking of the sprinkle on the money line here. I see a plus 160 on this money line, Billy. Am I crazy?
No, not at all. One thing that you noted was Andrew Wiggins going to the bench. In his replacement, Brandon Podziemski, probably a guy that we won't get a player prop for right until before the game, because they have to put his lineup because he's in the starting lineup. But he's been playing really good fucking basketball of recent. In the last 2 weeks, he's been the third most in the minutes. So it goes Curry, Clay, him. And he scored double-digit points in 5 out of his last 7 games, adding at least 3 steals for his second straight contest and 29 minutes in 3 straight games. He's been balling, man. I would play his points and rebounds prop. If we can get that, like, I call it the Grayson Allen line. Remember last time we were on the show? We can get that, like, little 15.5 at minus 125 for Brandon Podziemski. I think he smashes the over anywhere between 15.5 and 17.5. I'm looking to play the over for Podziemski. This is a good matchup for him. He'll probably be matched up with, I would say, Derek White. That would be probably his matchup. I mean, in that Portland game, where Curry kind of played shitty in, you had 10 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists. The game before that against Brooklyn, 19 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists. The Clippers game, bad matchup for him, 4 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists. And then the Phoenix game, he had 20 points, 11 rebounds, 5 assists. So he doubled there. So, I mean, Kerr's been playing him. He's been playing well. So I think we should kind of take note. And if they post his props, it's something that we couldn't go official with because his prop isn't up yet. But it's got to be up, though. Like, you would think it would be up, right, Mike? Like, he's in the starting line.
Yeah.
Like, he's been scoring. Like, what can they do not to put his prop up?
I would think when the line goes official, that's when, like, when the lineup goes official, that's when we'll see them. They'll scurry to put some points out there and then move quickly on it too, because they're not going to know where to put a price on this guy. They're not going to know what point number to give him. And to your point out there, getting it done, interesting spot. So I made a note of it. Damn right, I'll take a note of that. Shout out to our guy Jared Bush, over 11.5 points. Says Podziemski on FanDuel right now. He's got the over 11.5 points at minus 106. He also gave us a look out there with the ponies there. He's got the number 4 horse race 1 at Turfway tomorrow night as well. So we're getting a little horse look out there from our guy Jared Bush. We know he gets out there and runs the ponies pretty strong. So what do you think about that 11.5 with Podziemski?
I would take points and rebounds at 17.5 because he's been rebounding the ball very well. And you talked about this is a good rebounding matchup spot for the Warriors guards that are probably going to have to catch some long rebounds, considering the fact that they're not going to play with the center.
I like it. Anything you want to go official with? You want to think about it for a little bit?
Probably want to think about it. You know, we get the Bass in it. The game doesn't start till 10 p.m., but I'm seeing 17, exactly what I thought it was going to be at 17.5 at minus 125. Definitely looking towards the over. Probably go official with it closer when we have this Chris Paul news.
Nice. Real Deal Prime. I saw that, my guy. 1-0 for the Sabres right off the hop. So good on you there. Let's go. Let's keep it rolling. Let's talk about this last game. We're running a touch long, so we want to make sure we get this in for you guys here. We've got the Phoenix Suns. We've got the Trailblazers. The line opens as the Suns minus 7.5. 57% of the bet, 63% of the cash on the Suns, and yet we're down to 7. The total has a similar situation, 232, and it opens up to. The over is now 230.5 with 73% of the bets and only 60% of the cash there. And the number's starting to drop a little bit, Billy. Did you have any thoughts, any looks, any reads for us that we can get paid with on this game?
Yeah, I left this one as a lean just because I didn't want to go too with a saturated card considering the bad beats that we had yesterday. I just want to get straight towards some cash today. 3 NCAA, 2 NBAs, and let's get paid. But one I did leave as a lean, though, Yusuf Nurkic over 14.5 points at plus 100. Nurkic gets to go back to Portland for the first time since the trade. And in their first matchup this year in Phoenix, he had 18 points and 12 rebounds in that spot. And Portland gives up the third most points in the paint. I like the spot for Yusuf Nurkic tonight. I think he balls out. I wanted to play the points and rebounds, but the points and rebounds kind of led me towards just playing the points straight up because his points and rebounds are at 25.5 at minus 125. So he would need to go over his point prop for that prop to hit. And I think that prop hits. So I would lean towards the plus money spot here for Nurkic's points.
I like the look, giving us a little plus money read. And then I'll give you guys some thoughts here as well. The Suns 15-2 to the over when they're on the road off a 3 or more game homestand when the line is shorter than 5.5. So potential over spot, but we're seeing those numbers drop. I know I've turned into this storm before and it hasn't ended up well for me. So the Suns 15-2 to the over. They are covering by 11.65 on the total in that spot. The other side of things for you guys to consider are the Blazers 2-15 against the spread. Getting stopped, 15.94 points per game average, non-cover when they're at home as a dog of 7 points or longer if either team has rest. So interesting spot that we're still at 7. When it's longer, you would think that the longer means like 7.5s or 8s. It doesn't. It's a function against 0. So longer means in this case it's -7, -6.5, -6s, and things like that. So keep that in mind as we're looking forward. But yeah, Kelly Visa, she likes the under in the Suns. JPZ likes the over 230.5 out there. So
I don't lean towards the over as well.
I like the points in this thing because we haven't been seeing the same kind of scrap ass Trailblazers team that we saw to start the season off. They've pulled up on a few of these spots and have put some points on the board. So I was kind of thinking the same when it came to the total. I think the
I think the total's connected towards Shaedon Sharpe being questionable for this game. Maybe that's the reason why it's kind of fluctuating, because if he is out, that might take a couple points away from the total. And that I would still lean towards the over. I mean, Anthony Simons has been hooping.
Yeah, I think, you look at the points that Portland's put up, 114 against Golden State, 120 against Dallas, 114 against Utah. Utah was kind of traditionally trending as an under team there, and they still were able to put up a ton of points there. And they've got, 4 of their last 5 games have been overs for the Trailblazers. So that's a pretty impressive run. On the other side of things with the Suns, they're under, over, under, over, under. They're running that zigzag pattern right now with the over kind of being due. So, we'll stay tuned there. We'll keep an eye on Twitter. If anybody puts anything out there, Billy, if you want to put it out there, we'll go official. We'll keep it for the record purposes. Otherwise, guys, that's what we have for you tonight. We're going to put a bow on the show, Billy. But before we get up out of here, let everyone know what you got cooking. I know MMA's on a little hiatus here till the new year for the UFC. What are we going to do with you? What are we going to find you?
Yeah, it's college basketball season. It's got some college basketball plays going up over to social media. So make sure you follow me over at Getting Bills over on X, Billy Birds DFS over on IG. And this is the best time of year to get in for basketball. We get to lock in for NBA and NCAA. And for the NBA, this is usually the time where players start really picking it up. It's holiday season. They're starting to play on more primetime games and stuff like that. Maybe a couple of disappointments from the in-season tournament. We've been making money back in the Clippers and stuff like that. So nice little angles, nice little stuff. We got some referee stuff. Nothing that really stuck out on this slate. It was a fair slate of referees. I don't think there's any Vegas mobs or any Philadelphia mobbing going on this card. So we get to enjoy a nice basketball slate. I think it's a better watchable slate than actual betting slate, but the props that we got in, I think they correlate with how the slate's been trending towards.
Well, I appreciate you sharing the looks, my guy. I always enjoy hanging out Tuesdays and any other time we live stream together. We always find a way to get to that cash. So I always enjoy the company.
Any best bets? Best bets were for the NBA, 2 props, CJ McCollum over 2.5 3-pointers, Stephen Curry over 29.5 points. And then if you have BetMGM, play the 30+ 3-pointer 30-foot three-pointer at plus 150. And then the 3 college basketball plays that we're looking at is Indiana State minus 17.5, minus 110. Somebody put in the chat, Kelly V, they were on Indiana State minus 9 in the first half. I like that line too as well. Me and Mike talked about that spot specifically like 2 weeks ago. It was like a late ad that we're getting in for the Indiana State first half, and they ended up smoking them by like 40 in the first half. So, yeah, definitely I would lean first half and full game in that one. And then Southern Illinois minus 7.5, minus 115. Western Carolina plus 4.5, minus 115. So even if you wanted to do a little throw Southern Illinois in a little DGEM parlay, that could probably make some things work for you. If you don't want to back to 7.5, but there's a lot of ways to, I think today, I don't want to summarize today, but today was like a player prop parlay day for me.
I like it. I like the looks. You got to get creative, especially with the tighter card. You can't just, these sides, the tighter card, they're going to get sharp. These books are going to be super sharp about it, but that's why I love that Billy's looking deep into the details there, looking for the bench players, kind of projecting how the games are going to go to give you guys what he thinks are going to be some of those greasy little spots to get paid. So appreciate you, Billy Briz, rocking with us tonight. Appreciate everybody that dropped in here. Jared Bush says over 29.5 Curry. Yeah, Billy Briz and I both like that, Jared. Over 29.5 Steph Curry points. JP says the Hoosiers are taking it up the prison pocket early. Oh, no. Tarek B, any best bets yet? We covered those. Kelly V, appreciate you dropping in. Jared's got another one. Raceway 4, Turfway tomorrow night. He likes the number 6 to win and place at 8-1. Our guys giving them pony looks out there. We love it, man. Thanks for coming in tonight. Again, Jay Peasy, Jared Bush, Kelly V. The gang was here representing with us tonight. Rocking and rolling. Real Deal Prime says he's got the blowout incoming for the Sabres game here. We'll see if he's right there. Look forward to talking to our guy tomorrow about that. Charlie Chips, Pierce the Weather, Ian Shaver, the whole gang, Coin out here tonight rocking with us. Sammy Calmer dropping in there, giving some looks, Caddy, Daddy. You guys are great, man. We appreciate you all coming in here. Without you guys, we don't have a show. So make sure if you haven't done so already, become a member. Subscribe to Pub Sports Radio. Memberships are $4.99 a month. Been tons of them going around. It is the season to be giving, and the crew has been given. So we appreciate everybody. T back there locking it down on the 1s and 2s. You know where to find us. It'll be the same time, same place tomorrow, 6 p.m. Eastern. It's last call, baby. Pub Sports Radio. Shout out to Billy B. Let's get those tickets, brother. Let's go.